So, there's some news about age verification. Apparently, it's rolling out in multiple other countries other than the UK and Australia. Microsoft is doing it in Minecraft, apparently. Discord is going to start rolling it in other places. Roblox and so many other places are doing it too. And that is going to set a very, very concerning precedent, in my opinion. And you're going to start by saying, "Oh, but isn't age verification good because it stops bad people?" I wish it would be as simple as that, but let's be completely honest. I'm not talking about every single government, but if you look at what's going on in the U.S., where um, immigrants, black people, queer people, and every single minority you can think of are being vilified and painted as predatory and evil and this and that. Meanwhile, Trump is pretty much trying to um, help a lot of people get away with going to Epstein's Island and everything, despite him talking about, "Oh, I'm going to take initiative and save the world and catch all the bad people." And it's like, no, and that didn't happen at all. And it's very clear that he's covering up for someone. But anyway, the point is, I genuinely believe that these age verification laws are not there to actually protect anyone. Or even if, let's say, Discord or Roblox, or I'm not gonna say Microsoft. I can't say Microsoft. Let's say Discord. Even if, let's say, Discord has nothing but the best intentions in mind, it's so easily exploitable. Apparently, people are selling verified accounts on the internet, so pretty much circumventing everything. But I feel that this is gonna create so much chaos, not just because of kids being able to buy verified accounts, but also the way it's done. If it's not through ID verification, which again people can hack, and I'll get into it a bit later, it's an AI deciding how old you are. And the thing is, AI is very flawed because there's been so many cases of teenagers, like 13, 14-year-old, not even adults, just people who are like at the low end of the TOS, allowing them to have an account, being falsely labeled as adults. And then there's adults, and I'm not even talking about like 18, 19, 20. I'm talking about people in their late 20s and 30s even, being accidentally labeled as teenagers because, I don't know, they just have like a rounder, puffy face, cheek, like some like cheeks or anything, because people can just generally look more youthful. There's so much nuance to that. But even from messages, right? There's a lot of people who talk in different ways. There's people in their 30s who talk no different than teenagers, and it's not even for any malicious purpose. It's just straight up, that's how they talk, how they conduct themselves. It's not that deep. And how are you going to differentiate? And the thing is, manual review could be better, but even then it's flawed because people will complain that it's ineffective because there's going to be thousands and thousands of requests every single day. And what are you going to do when you have, only a few people comparatively? There's probably going to be even more than thousands, but I'm saying like as at a ratio, it's probably going to be like one person per 1,000 users, and I don't think it's realistic. But being mislabeled and having your account deleted because of an AI just getting whoopsie daisy, I have miscategorized you, is not even the worst part. Now getting into the hacks and stuff like that. Well, not only there have been already plenty of hacks that reveal people's documents and IDs and this and that, but also that's gonna get worse if age verification becomes a standard for every single thing, and we might end up in 10 years time with hacks not becoming just someone's gonna hack your Discord and whatever, use social engineering. They're going to do that to steal your identity or steal multiple people's identities, and that's going to be so much worse. You know how nowadays most computer viruses and hacks and whatever, they don't act the way they used to back in like 2000, or around like the 90s and 2000s, where it would infect files and spread through email. You don't see that anymore. Most viruses are about stealing your information and keyloggers and all that stuff. And I feel like 10 years from now, we're not going to see that many. Can you click on this totally not suspicious link? I am a game developer, even though I never talked about this. Can you try my game? Don't mind that I don't talk the way I normally did. It's fine. I'm just having flu in text. Yeah. I don't think that's gonna happen as much. I feel like people are just straight up going to use social engineering and actual hacks to steal people's identity, which can lead to so much worse outcomes, because there's gonna be situations where let's be completely honest, some people are genuinely unhinged and they have nothing but blood on their taste buds. Because some people are just fine like trolling or messing around with someone. There's some people who would not stop at anything short of life ruination. They would actively go out of their way to push someone into doing like harming themselves. And you've seen this happen before. I think we've all heard of stories like this, and I feel like that might end up happening even more, because this plus AI getting better and better at copying people will just kind of result in just, if someone gets, let's say there's famous McPerson, right? So a famous person, Issa Lab, doesn't even have to be some like huge million follower Instagram account influencer or whatever. It can even just be a micro celebrity that someone just particularly doesn't fuck with because they're just, I don't know, they consider them mildly annoying. I feel like there's gonna be a point where if they get their information, some people would go as far as to try to frame whatever person they don't like for doing heinous stuff. Like we've seen with how when there used to be a lot of callouts in like early 2020s, as you know, and many of them were genuine, but then there were the occasional people who are just trying to start dirt on someone by creating false evidence of stuff like that, and also just lying straight up. And I feel like that's probably gonna become worse because people are not gonna make call outs anymore. They're just going to straight up get someone's ID, copy someone's voice, maybe their face, and they're going to just do heinous stuff using that person's likeness and their information. And the AI, because they are going to rely on AI, there's not going to be any human review. They're just going to see the face, and the face is going to be linked with XYZ micro celebrity or XYZ celebrity in general, and they're going to be like, oh, so this celebrity is doing this. And you might end up seeing cases of innocent people getting framed for things through AI and age verification, getting all their information like IDs and stuff. Fuck, someone having access to your personal documents is enough for them to do so much shit to you. And that is extremely scary and dangerous, and I feel like there's definitely going to be pushback. I feel that you already started to see a growing movement, still small, but like a lot of people who are Gen Z or even millennials, but I've seen a lot of Gen Z doing this, ditching their smartphones and using very minimal social media for the simple purpose of, hey, I want to gain back my independence, I want to gain back control. And I feel like that's going to be taken to a whole different level. It is unfortunate that it's getting harder and harder not to be on social media, because that's kind of the thing. 15 years ago, if you said you don't have any social media to someone, they would be like, okay, well, they're just a little behind, being a little behind is not problematic at all, just like, But if you do it now, not everyone will assume so, but there's gonna be a lot of people who are gonna assume that you just have something to hide, or something is suspicious, or something, definitely something questionable will arise in their minds. And I feel like that's gonna become even worse, where it might end up with the point of some people becoming straight up unemployable if they don't have social media, because I know a lot of jobs already ask about social media presence, but not all of them, and many of them do look for you. But I feel like there's going to be a chance 10 years from now where not having any social media at all is probably going to be as risky to your employment as, I don't know, having a public fetish account where you talk about taboo kinks or something. Like, neither one should inherently like pose a threat to your employment. At least I generally don't believe having posting anything NSFW should count towards that. And I quite frankly think it's so disgusting that there's been so many people getting fired from jobs because, I don't know, 10 years before they appeared in like an adult movie or something. I remember there was a case like that on, I don't remember if it was Pawn Stars on History Channel or something, but there was someone who, she was like really cool, really well liked. People found out that she did something adult like years ago, and she was fired as a result. And even then, because I heard about this story many years ago, even then I did not understand why and what's the big deal. But I feel like now it's even more so of a sentiment that I share, especially since there's like just you see it so much more now with social media. It's scary that someone has said that online security, like being safe online, being untraceable, 15-20 years ago, it wasn't that hard to do. You just had to follow some basic protocols. You could even have social media accounts and this and that, and it wasn't that problematic because they wouldn't get too much data. Like, okay, they would maybe get your phone number, your email, maybe they might ask you for your name in some cases, but that's kind of as far as it went. But nowadays I feel like the only way to not have any sort of privacy flaw or loophole is by straight up being off the grid. And yeah, good luck being off the grid in the big 2026 now. Like, being offline 20 years ago was fine, even normal for a lot of people. 10 years ago it was already very weird. Like, you go back to 2016 and that was already past the point where if you said you had no social media, people would kind of be like, huh, you sure about that? Now I feel it's just so much worse. And it's only gonna get worse. And you can't go off the grid. You kind of need some social media, even if you're not going to just like have some Twitter or Facebook or Instagram or Blue Sky or whatever where you constantly and actively post. You're still going to want to have something where you can keep up with friends, keep up with family, because people are like, even people at work or at university or at whatever, they're going to want to have a group chat, and you're going to eventually have to make an account for something, whether it's, I don't know, Apple for iMessage or Telegram or WhatsApp or Discord or literally anything. It will open up so many vulnerabilities to the point where I am thinking privacy is not fully dead, but fully being untraceable is. Because and I know there's gonna be some Lunix Twitter user being like, yeah, you can use this like very specific distro that you have to program yourself. It basically, it sandboxes literally everything you do and everything you use, and you just also have to use this untraceable browser that could accidentally, maybe like 1 out of 10 times, take you to a body harvesting website, and you also can use this thing and this thing, and it's like, yeah, that is manageable if you're paranoid and are fine pretty much kind of sacrificing your your life in any way just to make sure you're safe, doing, I don't know, the basic minimum, which isn't to be expected from most people. Most people just want something convenient. Like, everyone can deal with some sort of friction, but there's some people who are taking this friction idea so far that they would genuinely, like, you look at them and you're like, oh god, is this like the modern version of those people who are like preppers, the people who are like, oh, there's going to be a nuclear war, so I have made this underground bunker, and I buy enough food for every for 6 months, and every 6 months I replenish it because it's going bad, and this and that. we will end up having more and more tech paranoia, but also on one hand, some of it will be understandable, like people who want to not be on social media being outraged that they don't have a choice, but also there's going to be a lot of people who are going to go through increasingly intricate and more complex and more, quite frankly, hard to achieve methods just to have the same amount of basic online safety and security and safety of mind in general as they did 15 years ago, let alone 20. Anyway, I feel like I'm probably going to start running in circles now, so I think I'm gonna end it right here. I will see you all next time.